Right, Jeev, welcome. And thank you for taking time out to speak to me at the Golfing Hub.
Thank you, and I'm glad I'm on your show, Robin. You've done a lot for golf.
Thank you. So, Jeev, very obvious question to you. How difficult was life during lockdown?
Um, it was tough, but you've got to put things in perspective.
Hmm.
And all successful human beings, I'm sure, have done things or have found ways to keep themselves busy. If I want to speak about myself, I would say that I did have a routine. I'm a routine oriented person. So what I did was that I said, obviously I'm not traveling. I'm not playing tournaments week to week at home. So let's take the positives out of this. And what am I going to do? So one day I sat down, I got a schedule out for myself for the day, Monday to Friday. And then on the weekends, obviously an easier schedule. I basically started my day with reading the newspaper, making my coffee in the morning. After that, after my shower, I used to do yoga. In fact, I used to do yoga for 30 to 40 minutes, which includes a lot of Surya Namaskars and other asanas. After that, some meditation, have breakfast. After that, play with my dog, do some light weights at home. We've got a weight training thing at home with a TheraBand and some light weights. Have lunch. After lunch, watch some Netflix, play with my parents for about 3 hours, play some cards with them just to keep myself busy, keep the mind busy and active, dealing with numbers. Then in the evening, sit down again, spend some family time, play with my dogs, um, have dinner, watch some Netflix, and go to sleep. So I've given you my whole schedule of the day. The reason for that is that you've got to find ways to keep yourself busy. I could have easily wedged on the couch and done nothing, but I decided, being an active athlete who's traveled the world, I'm used to a certain lifestyle and I'm used to a certain way of functioning during the day. So I made sure that I still kept up with my physical training and my mental training. Physical training would be just weight training. Obviously, I couldn't play golf at all, but in a way, it was good. It was more and also working mentally on the golf game. And when the of course, things were much easier and it was better.
Right. So, uh, how much did you reflect on the past?
A lot. I reflected a lot on because uh, good memories create a future for a human being, I feel. Especially Volvo Masters, uh, Volvo China Open, tournaments in Japan. Just sitting and thinking about it and dreaming about it and getting that feeling of, you know, good things which have happened to me and which have been uh, amazing in my life, and they get me excited, they get me going, they want me to get back onto the golf course. So I did reflect on the past. Obviously, I missed the travel part. If you are talking about the travel part of not traveling week in, week out, which I've done for the last 27 end of the day, but thinking about the positive stuff made life much easier.
So during the time when you were not able to go to the Chandigarh Golf Club and practice, how many times did you enter the trophy room and sat there quietly looking around?
all the time. I did at least once or twice a day, just to make sure that the good old memories, positive vibes came back to me, and got me ready for the senior tour.
Right. So how many pets do you have now? Goofy and Tiger are around?
No, Goofy died. We lost him last year. God bless his soul. But we've got 4 dogs now at home: Tiger, Lucky, and Goldie. So
Okay.
2 labs, 1 golden retriever, and 1 stray dog.
Since you've been on the board of the Asian Tour for a long time, are there plans to start a senior tour there as well on the Asian Tour?
Robin, hopefully, uh, they want to start the Asian tour, senior Asian tour in the future. But right now, with the situation economically all over the world, and especially in Asia, everybody is struggling. Right now, we just want to make sure that the main Asian tour starts first
Hmm.
in January next year. And then after that, we can have chats with the guys and the sponsors to start a senior tour on the Asian tour in the future.
Right. There was some talk. I met a couple of guys the other day in Gurgaon. They said there's some talk of a event happening in Dubai if all is well. Something on those lines.
There was a talk, but the Asian tour has decided that everything's going to move to next year. They're going to start in January next year. They want to create some bubbles like in Singapore, Dubai, maybe Brunei, other places which are easy to go into and come out of, and there's no quarantine. So that's what the plans are right now. If you want to talk about the Asian tour, and the first half is going to be packed because they want to make sure that there are enough events so that a lot of Asian tour players can play, focus on the world rankings so that they can get the world rankings up, because the cutoff is going to be by I think July 20th or 23rd of July for the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the goal, to make sure that there are enough opportunities out there for the membership to play, get their world rankings up, and try to qualify for the Olympics and represent their country, and try to win a medal for the nation.
Right. Right. So, Jeev, it's now been almost 4 to 5 months that Chandigarh Golf Club opened up for practice, and you've been fairly regular. But when you're out there on the golf course, does it kind of play on the mind that you have parents back home who are senior citizens?
Yes, for sure, you have it in your mind that you've got old parents. You've got to make sure that you're a responsible citizen, responsible child, that you don't want to bring any kind of infection home.
Hmm.
What are the guidelines? You need to follow those. You've got to maintain your distance. But end of the day, I haven't been doing much on the golf front. I've been just practicing maybe for an hour a day. I
Okay.
haven't been playing that much. I just go hit about 50 to 60 balls a day, do a little bit of chipping and putting. In fact, I took in the last 3 months, I've taken 2 months off. I haven't played at all. And
Okay.
I just started practicing about a month ago.
Hmm.
But answer to your question, that yes, a lot of precautions are taken in a house. We are worried because the parents are old,
Hmm.
and you have to be a responsible citizen, and plus you've got to be a responsible human being towards, it could be anybody.
Right. So once you move to the senior tour, how do you plan to divide your time, say between playing the Asian tour and on the various senior tours?
Basically, my goal is going to be the Champions Tour. I would like to play there. But if I have a few weeks off in between, then I can always fly into Japan from there, or into Europe and play a few events in Europe, and then fly back into the US uh, to play the events there. But if I don't get onto the Champions Tour, then my goal is going to be shuttling between Europe and Japan.
Okay.
And then also, when I'm in Japan playing some senior events, I can always fly into Asia, play the main Asian Tour events, and then fly back wherever the event is. So I'm going to be my schedule's looking like I'm going to be playing close to about 30 to 32 events when I get onto the senior tour, because I'll be dipping on the main Asian Tour and also on the senior tour.
So are you kind of mentally prepared? Are you and also physically ready that the body is going to take a beating?
I'm making sure my body is ready. That's why I'm doing a lot of physical exercise, going to the gym 4 times a week, doing a lot of yoga. But once it starts, we'll take it on that time, because after 10 to 15 weeks of playing and traveling on the road, it starts its toll on you. And then we'll see whether it's going to last for 30 weeks or not.
Oh, no, because more than the tournament play, it's the shuttling between the continents.
Yes, that's the tough part. And people think, oh, you're traveling well and it's easy, but no, it's the jet lag. It's traveling from one place to the other, staying in different hotel rooms. The beds are different, the pillows are different. Sometimes you wake up with a neck ache, sometimes you wake up with a backache, but that's all part of the package. See, end of the day, what I say is that you're making a living out of what you love doing. So you're ready to do it, you're ready to take the challenge on, and you're happy, you're excited, you feel the pressure, and that's why a human being does it.
Right. So, as you said, your aim is to get on the Champions Tour. What is the way about going about it? The qualification.
Qualification for the Champions Tour, as of this year, it is that you have to do two qualifyings. One is like a pre-qualifying and then the final qualifying. But every year the rules change. So I'm going to check on this in February or March next year. Me being a top 50 player in the world, won all over the world, different tournaments, I will check with the organizers or the people who are running the tour that if I can get into the finals. If I can, then my final qualifying is going to be in November 2021, and close to 170 players or 60 players play, and only 5 get a permanent card and 5 get a conditional card.
Okay.
So it's quite tough. But if you include the guys in the pre-qualifying, you're looking at close to 500 to 600 players teeing it up for the 5 spots.
Not easy at all.
Not easy at all. But the good part with me is going to be that I am going to be exempt into the major championships like the Senior British Open, Senior US Open, Senior PGA Championship. For the first 2 years, with what my world ranking was and the tournaments wins I've had all over the world.
Okay. So that
the other way it could be, if I don't get onto the Champions Tour the first time out, if I win one of the major championships on the senior tour, then I'm exempt on the Champions Tour for 2 years.
So the exemption is for 2 years or 3 years?
2 years.
Okay, 2 years. All right. So, assuming that you get onto the Champions Tour, that would mean setting up a base there. So, will your entire focus be on the Champions Tour, or you still kind of look at shuttling between continents?
My focus will be the Champions Tour. This year, they've got 18 tournaments on the Champions Tour. But what they do is normally on the Champions Tour, they'll have 2 weeks, they'll have 2 to 3 weeks off. Then they'll have 3 weeks, they'll have 2 weeks off. So if there is a month off, I'm obviously going to fly back to see the family, play in Asia, or go play in Europe or in Japan. So I will be shuttling.
Hmm. Gee, very pertinent question for people our age is, with the players getting stronger and fitter, there's so much of emphasis on fitness, and bombing it 350 yards seems like kids play. For someone like you, how do you kind of reconcile yourself if you're kind of pitted against a player like, say, Bryson in a tournament, playing in the same group?
We have a saying on tour that you play within yourself. If
Hmm.
somebody is hitting at 320 or 350, if I'm in the same group, I've got to play to my strengths. If my strength is to hit it 280 yards down the middle, I might as well stick with that instead of trying to hit it 300 yards and I don't even find the fairway. That is one. Second, then you got to have good distance control, and that's when the experience comes in that, hey, certain places where you can't go for it in two and the other guy is hitting an iron and you can't even get it on in two, you just lay up and then you hit it to a place where your strength comes in. Okay, if your sandwich plays strong, you hit it to that area. If it's going to be 100 yards to 120 yards, you hit it there so that you can hit that sandwich to about 10 to 5 feet away so that you've got a good chance of holding that putt. And your short game has to be sharp. And I think any player who wants to be a good professional golfer, his short game has to be top class. Otherwise, he cannot last on the tour day in, day out. And he's got to have that trust in it.
So, moving on to the senior tour, do you think these attributes are what will come in handy?
For sure. Yes. But on the senior tour, the difference is going to be I'm going to be the youngest one on the senior tour when I join the senior tour at the age of 50. So that's the positive way to look at it. And I will be hitting it past most of the people when I join the senior tour. And that way I don't have to worry about the distance. And I think what happens when you get onto the senior tour mainly is that a lot of people lose their feel in the short game. Touchwood, right now, my short game is as good as it was before. So I'm looking forward to the senior tour so I don't have to worry about working too much on the short game and thinking that, oh, I'm losing some feel in my short game.
So the others will get psyched out watching you hit the driver.
I don't know. A lot of guys hit it quite far with the technology and the equipment that is out these days. But I won't be short on the senior tour. When I'm there for the first 2-3 years, I should be out there hitting it as far as most of the guys.
But why is it that you say that a lot of guys on the senior tour lose the feel of the short game?
I don't know. I've heard from a lot of players that, they feel different when they chip and putt now. And they feel like they don't have that kind of touch or finesse around the greens. Different people react differently, but fortunately for me, I haven't lost that. I feel as good. So I don't have to worry about things like that. But certain people I've heard are struggling with their short game.
Okay. So, as you said, Jeev, the plans on the Asian Tour for next year, initially, I think going forward, the way is to create bubbles. But the first half, are we looking at any events in India?
Hopefully, we should have the Indian Open. Maybe one more tournament, but right now, only Indian Open looks like the event that will happen in the first half. But the focus is basically going to be Singapore, Dubai, Brunei, Southeast Asia, a lot of events till April.
Okay.
Bangladesh, Vietnam. So there could be events till April, May, and then after that things will slow down because the cutoff is going to be, I think, 23rd of July for the Olympics.
Yeah. We'll talk a little about your wins. There are so many of them. But especially when you sit in the trophy room and you look around, which are the trophies that kind of, still send a chill down the spine?
The two which are the favorites, the Volvo Masters in Spain in 2008 and the Scottish Open in 2012. Volvo Masters, because it is a tour championship, the strongest field, top 60 players only of Europe playing. One of the toughest golf course in Europe, Valderrama, a lot of history to it. Playing for the first time in those conditions, windy, cold, rain. Nobody till date teeing it up in the event for the first time on that golf course has won the event. So when I got there, they said, you won the Volvo China Open, Jeev, and first time you've come to the Volvo Masters in Valderrama. Anybody who's come in here and for the first time, normally they take a year or 2 years to get used to the golf course. I set a goal for myself. I said, why not? Let's be different. Let's try to do something differently and win this event. And it happened for me. So that was the reason. That is the reason it is special for me. Teeing it up for the first time on that golf course, one of the strongest fields, big event, top 60 players, and I win that event. And especially after that shot I hit on the 17th hole, which is a par 5. Talking about the Scottish Open, again, freezing, cold, windy, not used to those conditions at all. People can say that you've been playing in Europe for years, you're used to those conditions. But, when it's coming sideways, it's cold and the rain is hitting you hard. It's like needles going into your face. It's that strong, the rain and the wind. Going out in the last round, one of the best starts I had. I was 4 under par after the first 5 holes in tough conditions. Scottish Open, home of golf, where golf started, for winning that championship is special to me, and I won it in a playoff. I didn't expect to win, but I was fortunate enough that the golfing gods were on my side. Playing the last hole, I left the putt short, but in the playoff, I had 3 good shots and hit an awesome putt on the last hole to make the birdie to win the championship in the playoff. So these 2 tournaments, with the history behind these tournaments, are the best wins of my career so far.
So you've placed both the trophies at a strategic point. So the moment you enter, you get to see them.
Yes.
Jeev, when you look at the players of your generation and the guys who are coming out on tour now, what is the biggest difference you see in the work ethics?
The youngsters who are coming out nowadays, and about us guys. That's a very good question. I just feel that I'll talk about my generation first. My generation, we didn't have that much knowledge. It was a trial and error method we applied. The internet
Hardly
wasn't there. The knowledge of working on the right muscles wasn't there. Club fitting wasn't there. Right equipment to be used wasn't there. Mental training wasn't there. But I thought differently. I did, if I can name 5 or 6 things, out of those, I did 3 things. As a youngster, I went to the gym. I was 13 years old when I started going to the gym, 13 to 14 years old, light weights. I used to jog. Then I started doing yoga at the age of 14. I started working on the mental side at the age of 15. Started reading some positive books, but wasn't serious. It was off and on. But I became regular when I turned pro. And about the physical part, where I lacked, when I was injured, I did not take time off. Right way to put it would be, I didn't take enough time off that the injury healed and I was ready to come back. I used to always shortcut my rest time, and I used to come back because I really wanted to play golf. And I think that's with every athlete in the world. When it's time to take time off, you've got to do it. You've got to be disciplined and you've got to follow it through. Whereas these youngsters, talking about them, they have all the knowledge, they have the right work ethic, they have the equipment, they know what they need to work on. So that is the difference between us guys and these guys. So the only thing that I feel is lacking with the youngsters, and I tell them all the time, you've got to work harder and you've got to set high standards for yourself. What I mean by high standards is you've got to set goals or standards which are to win major championships. Not that, hey, I'm going to be a winner on the Asian Tour and that's it, or be a winner on the European Tour. No, then you're going to get complacent. You got to set goals like, I want to be a top 10 player in the world. That is what's going to keep you working hard. That's going to keep you positive. That's going to be keeping you excited about playing events. And you will be working on the right stuff, and you will be doing quality practice instead of quantity practice. And I think it's very important for these youngsters. What I feel, I could say about any sport. Sport gives you happiness, sport gives you disappointment. Happiness you take in a positive, disappointments you take in a negative way. Why? No, you've got to take the disappointments also in a positive way. Disappointments come because you haven't worked hard enough. You haven't got the right routine, or you haven't got the right way to tackle problems. It's basically teaching you and giving you courage to face challenges. That is the way you need to take disappointments. And it's basically a correction to become a better player. And that's what brings the best out of a human being. So this is the difference I feel with these youngsters.
Yeah, that is something I was coming to, because everything is ready-made these days. You have access to technology, you have access to expert guidance across formats. So the hunger, I think, is less. What you just said, that you have to probably they don't aim too high.
Yes, you got to. I think for any human being to be successful, you've got to set high standards for yourself. And for a golfer, routine should become a habit.
Mm.
Any human being, To wake up in the morning, he's got to brush his teeth. It's a habit, right? So for an athlete to be successful, he should have a routine, and it should be a habit to, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to hit certain amount of golf balls. I've got to play certain holes. I've got to work on the short game. This much time I take out for my physical training. This much time I take out for my mental training. It's got to become a habit in your life. And that's when you become a successful human being and an athlete in whatever you want to do in life.
Right. Another very pertinent question for you, being a top professional, and now your son also plays, you've carried for him also, he won. So you've seen both sides of the fence. So what would you say to aspiring golfers and parents? Because I've seen it from only one side of the fence, that both parties tend to go overboard trying to achieve a certain amount of excellence.
If I speak about my son, what I feel is, as a parent, my job is to give him the right guidance, education, and values. I do not want to take his childhood away from him.
Very important.
As a child, he's supposed to play all sports. He wants to play cricket, he wants to play hockey, he wants to play football, he wants to play table tennis. Whatever he wants to do, let him do that. But in the end, if his love is for golf, or table tennis, or whatever he wants to do, and he's serious about it, in his teens, when he's about 13 years old, you've got to have a chat with your child and say, what would you like to do? And if he says, I would like to do this, then you give him that opportunity and the guidance that he makes the most out of it. That's all you can do as parents. And I think you create winners, attitudes, champions from the kind of talk you have with your kids and the trust the kids have in the parents. This is very important. Relationships are built on trust. And I think if your child can trust you, confide in you, talk to you about any and everything and how he's feeling, I think you as a parent are a winner. And that's what I try to do with my child, so that if he's had a bad day at golf, my only question to him is, did you give it 100%? He says, yes, Dad. And then my next question to him is, what was lacking? So first question is that he's given it 100%. Second question is, what was lacking? Lacking was, okay, I wasn't focusing or I was nervous. Then I talked to him how to handle it, so that when he's in that same situation the next time, he knows what to do. End of the day, and I've said it many a times, we can talk about discipline, hard work, values, challenges, disappointments. It all sums up to one thing: belief. You believe in yourself, you do anything in your life, you will be successful. And you've got to have high standards, dream about it, visualize that you're an achiever, and you got to repeat it every single day. And when you wake up in the morning, first thing in the morning, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you've got to look at yourself as a champion. You could be doing anything in life. Reinforcing it gives you confidence. Then you conduct yourself like that, and that gives you belief. If you do that, you'll be successful in whatever you do in your life.
How, along the way, how important is education? Because I'm sure you would have also noticed this, and it's kind of very unhealthy phenomena that we have, particularly in North India, that people think they're going to make it and they drop out of school and the entire day is spent at the golf course. And suddenly then you realize that you don't have plan B.
Yes. I'm a firm believer in plan B. You've got to be having a second plan. If tomorrow, as a good golfer, you get injured and you cannot play golf at a competitive level, what are you going to fall back on? Education. Education is very important. Education gives you the confidence to conduct yourself, be a responsible citizen, responsible human being, builds a nation, unites a nation. I can keep talking about different things, what it does. But education is a must for every child. So if something happens tomorrow, he's got that to fall back on and make a life for himself.
So what are your plans, Jeev? You are staying put in Chandigarh right now?
Very much in Chandigarh, spending time with the family. Mom and dad are getting old, so I think in a way it's fantastic to spend time with them. I've never done that in the last 28 years. Dad's 91, mom's 85. I haven't spent 6 months at home at a stretch. Normally I come back for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks max, and then I fly out for events. So I think it's been great spending time with them, with my wife, with my son, with my dogs. So I'm making sure that I'm enjoying this lockdown period, and I'm putting things in perspective and making the most out of it.
So I believe the PGTI restarts next month, and there are two, I think, back-to-back events in Panchkula and Chandigarh. Are you planning to play them?
Yes, I've heard about it. It all depends on my schedule. I'm supposed to do a qualifying in Japan in November. But right now, the borders are closed for Japan. If I'm allowed to go into Japan, then I won't be playing these two events. Maybe I play one event. But if I'm not allowed, then for sure I will play one event in Chandigarh.
Right. So when was the last time that you played in Japan?
It was last year, I think. Last year or 2 years ago. I don't remember. I think most probably it was last year. I played one of the JGT events. But this is not like a tournament. It's like a 4-day qualifying to become a member of the Japan PGA.
Okay.
JPGA it's called. So if you're a member of the Japan PGA, it's like a test. If you're a member of the Japan PGA, then only you can play on the senior tour.
Okay.
Otherwise, you first have to become a member of the Japan PGA, then you have a qualifying for the senior tour. So once I become a member of the Japan PGA, because I won 4 times on the main tour, I will be exempt onto the senior tour. I don't have to do a qualifying for the senior Japan tour.
So how many events do they have on the senior tour there?
They've got close to 15 to 18 events.
It's quite a bit.
Yes. But that also, like I said, they'll play for 2 weeks, then they'll have 2 weeks off, then they'll play for 3 weeks, they'll have 2 weeks off. That's the way the schedule is.
For, for guys growing up here and aspiring to make it big, the normal route is PGTI, Asian Tour, European Tour, and possibly the PGA Tour. Very few people have gone that way with you to playing and winning in Japan. How has that experience been on playing in Japan?
My experience in Japan has been awesome. Talking about Japan as a country, it teaches you value for time, discipline, eating habits, and a healthy lifestyle. On the golf front, if you're a good driver of the ball, you can play the Japanese tour. And also the greens are lightning fast.
Mm.
And when the greens are lightning fast, it teaches you to develop speed in your hands to play on any kind of greens in the world. So what Japanese tour taught me and why I became a better player playing on the Japanese tour is because I became a good driver of the ball. Plus, the greens out there are lightning fast. And when you putt on lightning fast greens, it teaches you to adapt and gives you a lot of feel in your hands. And that's what I learned.
So that playing in Japan kind of was pivotal in you getting better as a player.
Yes, it was. It was for sure.
But even now, taking your example, you still have very few people. I think Rahil is one because he won there. Ajitesh tried, went for qualifying. Still, very few people think of making a career out of playing in Japan or maybe the Asian Tour. Why is it so? Is it because of the cost or the language barrier? Because everybody admits that the courses there are very challenging.
Courses are in excellent condition, challenging. I think the only drawback is the language barrier. That's why most of the people shy away from playing in Japan.
But I guess everywhere these days, people make an attempt to, learn English. I think the Japanese
But
also.
but Robin, I think differently. You are introducing yourself to a new culture, a country which has such good values. I think it's great for a human being to spend time there, learn a little bit of their language, learn their habits, because you're going to have a healthy lifestyle. Why do human beings play sport? If you're sport teaches you to be a healthy human being. If you're a healthy human being, it's priceless. You are the wealthiest man in the world. So I feel that if a professional asks me, should he go play on the Japanese tour? If he's not able to make it on the European tour or on the PGA tour, I would say for sure go out there, spend at least 5-6 years playing on that tour so that you become a better player, and plus you're a good you lead a healthy lifestyle.
Right. So, Jeev, I think we are running out of time. Here's wishing you all the best as you try and get onto the Champions Tour and the senior tours across the world. And hope to catch you very soon. And take care and stay safe. And my regards to the family.
Nice talking to you, Robin, and keep up the good work. Stay
Thank you.
safe. Love to the family. All the
Take care.
best.
Take care. All the best. All the best. All the best.
Thanks.